Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. It is Monday night after work, trying to get some stuff done here, still in massive cleanup mode, massive project mode, and we've got a follow-up here. Plus, since I'm going to record a follow-up, I thought, well, what else can we do? And I guess it'll sort of be like a quick channel update type of a thing. We'll just see how it goes. But in the most recent KC tool haul released this Saturday, we took a look at some brand new stuff from Heyco, amongst which is this safety knife. Now yours truly, I'm in Texas, I don't do safety knives. It's one of those things. As you'll see in future tool hauls, prior to the Cuttix coming out, we have like a ton of safety and utility knives. And what we did with this one is I thought, man, that's cool. I've never seen it before. Very interesting shape. I decided, let's check it out. So that's what we did. And the thing is quite frustrating, I have to say. So my deal is, you come in and this will lock and you can retract it. There's a lock and an unlock button on the back side, and it does nothing, to allow that to retract or not retract. So no functionality there. And then right here, you have to manually extend the blade, and you think, okay, well, yeah, just lock or unlock it. Cool, you get the best of both worlds. You have the stupid overkill safety, if that's what, your job requires or your employer provides, or whatever hoops you're having to jump through for some entity that doesn't know how to do real work. But this right here is terrible. This goes from a kind of, it's not the most comfortable thing you'll ever hold, but it's pretty ergonomic, I'll give it that. And if we had the ability to have the blade there, this would actually be pretty cool, especially if it locked. But there's that third step of having to do this. And I was so burned out on this thing. Typically, when we don't have like a huge video, I'll just come in and I'll say, hey, here's what we've got. Let's play around with it, check it out. The only thing we didn't really do is change the blade, and that proved to be fateful, as many of you pointed out. Right there, I'm not sure that you can tell, but the bottom is an unlock, the top is a lock. Okay, so we're currently in an unlock position, and if I grab these guys who were in the house for something I had to do, a lot of stuff I had to do over the weekend, and we pull this out now. I like using pliers. To me, this is like a safety factor here, but I guess we'll go barehanded, and boom. So I have to say that this is actually, to the knife's credit, a very easy blade change. That's what the packaging advertised. It just failed to showcase how. What did that say? What have we done wrong? Okay, so now it's actually a good knife. There we go. Okay, yeah, so that's not dangerous at all, safety dance. Is it still a paperweight for me? Yeah, pretty much. Not my style. It is better than I thought. The blade change, like I said, that's the main thing I want to showcase here, is when the red switch is down, going away towards your bottom, you can actually slide the blade in and out. Obviously, with this standard blade type, you can switch it, from the front side to the back side. You should be home free. Something I'm doing doesn't quite seat the blade properly, so you have to sort of shimmy it, and one would think that that's a little bit more dangerous than a safety knife should be if we're that concerned about cutting ourselves, because then when you retract, the blade is still out. And, this is just a real little gem here. So there must be something that we're not hitting. It worked fine the first time. So we'll try this side. See what happens. Okay, I think that actually went in all the way. I don't know what the difference is, but again, easy out, not so easy in. Yeah, so it is better than we probably had it appear in the video. My thing is, why would I ever use that when I could just use, even a lot of you remember this guy, fixed NWS blade, not by choice. The Cuttix, the standard box cutter, a fixed box cutter, anything. It's just cumbersome. I don't know if it's because this thumb, is bad or whatever, but like that's not comfortable. And then what I don't like doing, I want my hand here. That's where the rubber overmold ends, right? So I want to hold it here. When I have to extend that far to get the blade, I guess you wouldn't have to go all the way, but you talk about doing this over the course of a day, or like a huge thick cardboard box where you actually knead it out all the way. That's going to be far more detrimental than whatever the blade could do to you. And similarly, like the way you alleviate that is you come and you put your index finger there and kind of get more of a natural position where it's not as straining on your hand. And then you run the risk of, if that retracts, I don't know. I think people just overcomplicate some things, safety knives included apparently. If you're in a country or a place that like mandates this type of stuff, you have two choices. You either need to leave that place, you know, or you need to go get a real box cutter and stand up to the people, because whoever is coming up with this does not use this. I can guarantee you that. There is no person, I don't care their size, I don't care their gender, I don't care anything about them. There's no one that would prefer this over this, or a cheap box cutter, or the, you know, like the standard equivalent that I used for years. It's just, I don't know. Again, this is what happens when people that don't work, you know, have things to do. This isn't Heyco, this isn't the place in China. This is like some regulation that made this into existence. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. It does look nice. It is kind of comfortable, and it's a unique take. It's just when you add in the 3 steps required to get from this to actually cutting, not worth the time or the effort or the money, in my opinion. Coming in next, what do we want to do? Let's be dangerous here with our safety knife. This is something you'll probably see in a future Harbor Freight video. Haven't recorded them. I have tons of them stacked up. All that new stuff we brought in that really big haul. Need to do all that. There's a lot of stuff that's appeared since. One of the items that I was finally able to get, I don't know why red is so difficult to get, but I tracked this thing down. I ordered it in online, got 2 of them actually. All it is a US General magnetic hook. I have a ton of these. I almost have the entire Skittle lineup. I think I'm gonna have to buy a yellow one now, because I think that's all that we lack. But unless they make white, then we'll have to do that too. Why red? Well, if you recall, one of the times when I brought in orange, I said, I'm going to take this to work, and that's what I did, and I want that back. As you know, we've got the orange, 4-drawer cart now, and I would rather have an orange magnet than a red magnet. What am I doing with this thing, you may ask? Well, UPS is supposed to stop every day. That's kind of cumbersome for them, cumbersome for us, type of a deal, because every time they roll in, you know, we keep that side of the shop locked up on the freight side. Not the gate, but the door, and then they have to come in, and there's a loud buzzer, and it's like miles and miles away from where we work, and sometimes I get lucky. But anyway, you have to run back there and deal with that guy and tell him, hey, we don't have anything today, and it's kind of like, man, that wasted a lot of my time. And so we made this little sign, and we explained it to the drivers. You know, we usually have the same driver. I think we've had like 3 over the course of like 15 to 20 years, you know. Granted, in the holidays, they also take like really long vacations. You have to break them in if they ever have sick days, you know, that people may not know. But what we did is we just we made this like 8.5 by 11 standard sheet of paper, and it's like, stop, we have a UPS pickup today. And that way, when the guy, you actually see it from the highway, you know, if you're known to look for it like he would be, and if he sees that, he knows to stop. If he doesn't see it, he just hoops around and gets on the service road and tracks off to the next stop. So, this is going to go down there. It's worked great. We have terrible wind. Last week we had a day with like 60-mile-an-hour wind. Like, when I say it's windy, it's really windy. We're a windy place. And when I say 60 miles an hour, it's like sustained 35 to 40, gusts to 60 or higher. And believe it or not, Wednesday we're supposed to have pretty much the same, but slightly worse. That's right, gusts up to 70 for our area, a little worse farther up in the Panhandle. So it survived that. It was out there on that door, and I would kind of be better if I had 2 of them, which I do have 2. I might take it, but basically just you can pin this anywhere on the sheet. I like to do it at the top. That seems to work well, because prior to that, what we were doing is we would just have it's laminated, of course, otherwise it would be dead. But we laminate it, and then, you know, it would just get covered with clear tape. We have 4-inch back there. You usually try to do it with 2, but you would just tape it to the door, and you can do all sides, you know, and it was super windy. This is so much easier, so much cleaner of a setup. So this will be going, but what we will do, we'll make use of this thing, because I don't know when I would ever use it if I don't do it here. And I'm going to try to keep this in camera for you. These things are like, I don't know, $5-6, somewhere in that range. They're actually pretty nice, I have to say. It's one of those deals. I like them. There's a little limitations. Obviously, I had to change anything. It would be like having a bigger hook. You could fairly easily do that. And we kept deep enough. It's just right up there at the back side that we got to break through. The thing that's kind of surprising to me, I'm hoping this changes when it comes out of the packaging. I've said that before with these. It looks more of like a... Okay, it's a little better. But, you know, like a classic red Craftsman toolbox, US General included, this looks more like a ruby red. And it looks a little more like a true red on camera. In person, it's like darker. It's just a shade or two darker than it appears on the camera. It's like a ruby red. I don't know if that varies batch to batch or not, but yeah. I'll take this with me. I'll throw it in my hoodie. Hopefully remember it, and I'll make the swapperoni tomorrow and bring my orange one back home. So, something else. This is kind of spoiling. I guess it's not a big deal, but I have them here and it's going to work out well. Picked this up in one of my recent orders because we have a lot of issues with batteries, button cell batteries. My mom and sister have key fobs that are constantly telling them that they're, you know, is it what, a 144 or a 2023? One of those is dead. And I'm like, no, I just literally replaced that thing. That's impossible. This is just, they're trying to get people to get to the dealership because nobody's going to know how to get to them. So these are dirt cheap. I think they're actually possibly being clearanced and closed out. They will do, we'll take a look at the packaging here. Well, I guess I will. 9-volt, AAA, AA, C or D, and then of course you can do like your little button batteries. So what I want to do here is check this thing out, and I think that's all we have to do. Let's pop this open. So plus and minus is indicated right there. Plus here, minus there. I've got these out of my Klein multimeter. You want to talk about some hate on a video, good lord. That's apparently the only people that watch videos on multimeters are people that know everything there is to know about a multimeter. And you know, that's what I do. You know, it's like once you know how to tie your shoes, all you need to do with your life is watch videos where people show you how to tie shoes so you can tell them that they're wrong. I'm trying to set this up and be able to move it back to you. Let's see here, that's going to be the awkward part. Cool deal though, because this is showing, it's like right, guess it kind of depends. Well, it's hovering between replace your battery, very low, and good but almost dead. And that's what these were doing. Battery in the Challenger was dead, and I was charging it up this weekend, and I had my multimeter out there, drug it from the shop to the garage. And I was like, man, it's dark, you know, this sucks. And it's like, hey, I've got a good multimeter. It's got a nice backlight. I'm going to use it. You hit the backlight button, hold it down for 2 seconds, and boom, the meter turns off. And I'm like, seriously? And then I've tried it again and again, same thing. Pulled it out, stuck it to my face, saw that there was a battery light. And I thought, man, I bet this is some freak battery size I'm not going to have. Opened it up, and it was AAA, and I'm like, sweet, I actually have that. So, right there, it's showing what you see. And what I will do now is we will grab these. They were going to be part of that same tool haul, but if you're a loyal viewer of the channel, you'll just see them a little earlier. I've never had Harbor Freight's like AA. I don't know, maybe we should save these. I might actually save them because this is getting to be long. And it's just kind of, I need to showcase that this is in fact the blade change and then do something else for people. So yeah, we'll play around with it. I'll try to remember to save the old batteries so we can kind of keep tabs on it. But I think it'll actually come in handy. I think this was like $2 and change, so we're not like breaking the bank or anything. So it'll be a handy little deal to have, I guess, since we have it. Obviously the other AAA, I should say, is we'll just check it out. The way this works, minus goes down there, plus goes up here. And if I hold this as steady as I can for you, it's pretty much right in that same area. So I've had that meter for, geez, how many years now? Quite a few. And this, as you might have guessed by the green non-El Cheapo Duracell or Energizer shells, those are the factory batteries. So I'd say we did pretty good because I have used the snot out of that thing. But yeah, there we are on that front. Well, let's see. This weekend, I did all kinds of stuff. I replaced a bake element in a double oven. That was fun. I used vice grips for wire holders. I replaced the rollers. I should have brought those out here. Replaced the rollers in an LG dryer again because the first time I did it, the local store that I no longer shop at called them up, said, hey, here's my model number. You got these rollers in stock. I want, OEM parts. Oh, yeah, we got them. Sister ran up there, she grabbed them, and boom, guess what wasn't an OEM part? The trash that guy sold me, and guess what? It didn't last very long either. One of them, the bearing is completely shot. The other two seized up, and then the fourth one, to its credit, is flawless. My thoughts are, when you tear it down and you're in there that far, you just as well replace all four. Keep the good ones, in case you have like a crisis and you can plug it in, or, there's a supply shortage or something. But, got that done. The spindle hubs were changed. It's like a key stock coming out of there, It used to be 10 millimeter, and then you'd have a 14 millimeter nut on the backside. They upgraded the design. They got rid of the little plastic tri-nut things that are just, brilliance in engineering there. And they replaced it with a circlip, which was cool. But the problem is they machined a step to eliminate the other little tri-clip deal. And when they did that, they just shredded it down, and now it's a 6 millimeter stock. So I'm sitting there, I've got a ratchet I can't talk about because it's from a future video on the backside. Couldn't get a crowfoot to fit because the sheet metal, that conceals it was down too far. And I was having to use a quarter drive ratchet on the front to turn that, and it goes, of course, into a nylock, and you can't turn the backside, so it's all the front sides. That little 6 millimeter socket, it was screaming for its life on the back too, but it did okay. Let's see, the battery was dead, got that going. I used the little rigid inflator. I don't know if I ever made a video on it. Maybe I did. Maybe I have edited it and not released it. I don't know. I used that for 2 cars this time on a 4 amp hour battery. It survived. That battery had not been charged in, I don't know, probably since the summer, because that's all I keep it there. It's for the inflator. And it was full 4 bars, on the fuel gauge whenever I hit the button. It did 8 tires total, and it was down to 2 bars, so I thought that was pretty cool. I've used it before, but it's never been on a whole car, let alone 2 cars. So I thought that was kind of neat. It is loud and it walks. That's the one drawback. It's a deal where if this is the inflator and you hook it up, it basically goes until the cord's stretched or it runs into something. I try to just kind of rest it against the tire, and then it'll still walk and shimmy. So keep that in mind. But again, it's probably about the same decibel level as my real air compressors. So there's that. That's probably enough here on the mat. We're already up to 18 minutes, which is crazy. But what I'll do is I'll run over here and we'll talk about some other exciting things coming, just to make this worth your while, I guess. All right, so welcome to part of the shop you've never been at as far as I can remember. This is, believe it or not, right by the front door. And goals are multi-purpose here. Number one, it's just where stuff is accrued in this position. We keep the good stuff that way. Also, if somebody were to ever break in, they would probably see this and be like, okay, turn around. There's nothing worth taking from in here. But what you're primarily looking at, that is an 8 3/4, cool old sprinkler as well. A KC toolbox doing double duty as a oil catch, if you will. Gear oil in that case, but OG Craftsman 3-ton jack stands there, the black and yellow. Might remember those from the mid to late 90s, right? But what's going on? I need to move that. It was always going to be a project. I wasn't sure if I was going to cut it down, if I was going to tub an A-body. But I think right now I'm just going to clean it up, maybe slap some paint on it, maybe just leave it as is, I don't know. But it needs to go. It'll be nice to have those jack stands back too. That is the trunk floor from the Charger, and it's been one of those things I've always kind of wanted to hang it up on the wall. just because it's cool in my opinion. Briggs & Stratton torsion rod or something in that box, A-body factory battery tray, some junk sprinklers, random sheet metal from something I cut up a while back, more charger parts, downspouts. The box right there has leaf spring shackles and U-bolts. I think I have like 2 or 3 sets, some of them off of a Dana, so that's pretty cool. 60 in this case, you know, old school power, not off-roading. So just to prove you, I mean, that's my door right there. So the threshold leaks, need to fix that at some point. Sadly, started foaming there, figured it out better as I went to the part that you don't see. Just how that stuff goes. Right there, I think I had started a video on this many moons ago, never finished it. It's a pretty fantastic little jack. Got my aluminum step stool that I was doing some trick paint work to and never finished. And then, dead mower battery from, I don't know, a couple years back. Sock, you can see where I started to clean that up a little bit. But if you work with me here, you know, there's a lot of real estate here. We just assume 3 feet per step. There's 3, 6, 9, 12. Basically 12 feet. We take 3 away for the door to swing open. I've got some space here, and it's not really utilized well. Those are homemade tables back there. Don't really serve much of a purpose aside from taking up space. That's just random lumber. I've got some angle iron left over from building the table. Stuff like that I can junk, I can get rid of, scrap, whatever I need to do, but I've got good real estate here, and there's going to be some additions to the shop coming up. In fact, they should be on their way, but I have no idea where on their way they are, or if they've been lost. More about that if they ever get here. But yeah, this real estate here is kind of like, I don't want to say wasted space, but not utilized space, if you will. Of course, fuel jugs. I don't care what you do in life, grab yourself the 5-gallon fuel jugs, you'll be happy. Little gas cans are kind of like the safety knife. You know, there's too many loops for you to jump through just to get gas for your mower or weed eater. Get those, you'll be thanking me. So, yeah, this is this big box here I've never opened. That was right before my thumb thing happened, and I've just never gotten to enjoy them. We'll get to those at some point. But yeah, there'll be a big addition in this area. I might have to move my swanky little airline, which, to be fair, if you keep that thing reeled up, don't drive over it. That's the OE hose that came with that. That's like vintage Harbor Freight, holding up all this time. So it's funny, I pair that with like that regulator setup sucks. Never buy those ever. That's also vintage Harbor Freight. It's mainly the lubricator that'll give you trouble. But yeah, there's like some stuff I was rigging up when I was like still in college, plumbing my own airlines. Had to use copper. I got a small fortune of copper, I guess someone could steal, but boy, it'd be a pain because I have that stuff anchored. So anyway, yeah, this area here is going to be getting quite the little upgrade for me. So very, very excited about that. And I guess that's it. That's really all I've got for you. Is mainly I just wanted to showcase, yes, it was, to be fair to that knife, it is easy to release the blade. It's kind of not as easy to get it seated properly when you reinstall it. But it is what it is. So I'm going to quit rambling and try to actually do something productive out here. And maybe this video will see the light of the day. Like I said, if you've not used a Daytona jack, I encourage you to do so. This is kind of, when I got it, like the cream of the crop. Not only was it low profile, it's long reach, and then I've got the little foot pedal there, which when you've used the jacks I've used, ooh, that thing is nice. So, plus I have a pad finally. I don't have to worry about hitting my bumpers as bad. So, anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. I hope you have yourself a fantastic week. We'll be back Saturday with some cool stuff you won't want to miss, so stay tuned for that. Any guesses as to what might be going here, feel free to leave them down below. Also, it gets the corners. This is something my grandparents had. They had tons of them, and I don't have it in my heart to throw these away because they're actually good sprinklers. It's square spray. This is like, as you can see, it's not plastic. It's like a genuine metal construction. So should have a couple more of them, but they're pretty solid little sprinklers. So with that said, I'll quit rambling. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you back here this weekend where we just might be checking out some Black Friday stuff from KC Tool. Have a good one. I'll catch you back here next time.